Swami Vivekananda and Narendra Modi ji. Welcome, Vanakkam, Swagatham. I cannot resist the inward impulse, impulsion, desire, craving, if you like, to reflect with you on the impact of Sri Narendra Modi's meditation at the Vivekananda Memorial Rock in Tamil Nadu. At that time, many responses were promptly aired, most of them to the effect that this is nothing but another piece of theatre, enacting which is a particular gift of Sri Narendra Modi. And it was also mentioned with great sense of relevance at that time was that at least one biographer of Narendra Modi's points out that when he was in school, he was greatly interested in theatre, and he would act only if he is given the most prominent role. And this was mentioned in order to reinforce the idea that the meditation that the Prime Minister undertook at the Vivekananda Memorial Rock was not sincere, it was a piece of play acting. If you recall, at that time, I did make a video and share some of my thoughts with you on the subject. And I said at that time that I would not come to a hasty conclusion about the authenticity, the sincerity, the truthfulness of this experience or this exercise until I have waited enough to see what impact this has really on the political outlook and personal orientation of the Prime Minister. And I think by now I'm in a position to make up my mind on that, and the substance of this video pertains to that final conclusion I have arrived at. Unlike all the many voices that you've heard clamoring that the Prime Minister was merely indulging in theatre, through this exercise I am now convinced that it was a serious enough experience. Whether or not it was intended to be so, I don't know, but I am very sure that it has turned out to be so, that the experience of meditating so deeply and profoundly at the Memorial Rock has had an enduring effect on Narendra Modi ji, and it has really transformed him, and transformed him in particular vis-a-vis his political outlook, his political strategies, his political culture. And that's a great thing. So I salute him in that context. Now let me only briefly indicate the kind of change, the kind of transformation that Narendra Modi ji has undergone, I believe, through this experience of meditating at the Memorial Rock. If you have noticed Narendra Modi ji's political disposition, especially the degree of his active engagement with the political processes afoot in this country, you could not have missed the obvious fact that there is a far greater degree of detachment, political detachment on the part of the Prime Minister. Perhaps I shouldn't say the Prime Minister, on the part of Sri Narendra Modi ji, because these things happen not to the office but to the person. I think the meditation at the Vivekananda Memorial Rock was a personally transformative experience. Since then, if you have been watching Sri Narendra Modi's routine, his schedule, his itinerary, his activities, his engagement, his pronouncements, you would have noticed a very, very perceptible change. I would say a sea change. For example, I have not heard, nor would you have heard, a single statement by Narendra Modi ji pejorative of the Muslim community, statements aimed at fomenting communal hatred towards that community, or what's called Islamophobia. Not a single sentence or word meant to effect communal polarization, knowing fully well that this communal polarization has been the main electoral hope for the party he represents, whose political fortunes he has built up as nobody else has before him. He has been rather discreet, guarded, inwardly controlled, and that, I believe, is a very remarkable, commendable, welcome aspect of the transformation he has undergone. Secondly, you would have noticed that at a time when crucial state assembly elections are announced, to begin with in Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir. I don't know why the Election Commission of India is dragging its feet as regards Maharashtra, for example. The Narendra Modi of the pre-Vivekananda Memorial Rock Meditation would have been hyperactive at this time, visiting these two states, addressing people, series of meetings. He would have really sort of set these two states on fire, because the outcome of these two impending elections will have a substantial bearing on the political future of his party and his own personal future. In fact, it's very likely that if the BJP fares poorly in these two state elections, his own continuation in office as the Prime Minister of the country could be affected. To what extent we do not know, but it is likely to be affected. On that, I don't have any doubt. So, the real measure of a person's degree of detachment from worldly affairs, which according to the Hindu philosophical spiritual outlook is a measure of a person's spiritual enlightenment, I think is quite noticeable in the case of Narendra Modi. After all, he is an ardent believer in the Gita, and the Gita certainly advocates this outlook, the spiritual outlook of nishkama karma, a detachment not so much from work as the fruits of the work. But here, Narendra Modi ji seems to have taken a step further. He seems to be not only detached from the fruits of one's labor, but also from the labor itself. I can't imagine that Narendra Modi of yesteryears being busy with international affairs at a time when assembly elections are in the offing in this country. So, the power of spirituality to transform a person's outlook is something that most people are very skeptical about. I believe the reason why most people suddenly jumped into the fray with a negative version of the Prime Minister's intent in going to the Vivekananda Memorial Rock reflects mostly the air of cynicism that prevails regarding these exercises in this age of unbelief. We're not living in an age of belief, but of unbelief. But then you would say, well, is this not an age of great religiosity? Yes, but religiosity does not mean actual life of faith. Actually, the present age has been aptly described as an age of unbelief, which is scared of atheism and skepticism. It is not that we believe in God, it's not that we believe in a godly way of life, it's that we are scared to acknowledge ourselves to be unbelievers, and therefore, going by the herd instinct, we identify ourselves as belonging to this religious community or that religious community. But the fact is that the particular spiritual tradition to which we belong plays absolutely no role in either the kind of human beings that we are or in the kind of goals that we pursue in our life. But now it turns out that that's not the case with Narendra Modi ji. It turned out to be a very powerful experience, a transformative experience. And if you want to know how powerful it is, just think of a person feeling somewhat emotionally distant or disconnected with the office of the Prime Minister. There's nothing higher than that in India. In fact, globally it is now recognized that the office of the Prime Minister of India is second only to the office of the President of the United States of America, and in absolute tyrannical power second only to the office of the presidents of Russia and China. So that's a kind of office from which he feels emotionally now detached. And what happens is this, and I think this insight is of great value, and by generating this insight, Narendra Modi ji has done a tremendous good to India. In fact, he has done far greater good to India long term through this spiritual insight than through all the political work he has done. And what is that spiritual insight? That insight, of course, it was known even before him, but he has given this insight a new lease of life. And that insight should not be lost sight of. That is, our attachment to worldly things, worldly perks like seats of power and the profit it brings, the celebrity status or the VIP status, the global visibility, and the degree of control that he can exercise over everything that he sees, and so on and so forth. As the old phrase goes, the king of all that I survey. Now, attachment to that kind of thing is inversely proportionate to the degree of godliness that a person experiences. That is to say, the more godly a person becomes in his orientation, the less attached he gets to these worldly symbols of power, profit, and prestige. And the more he meditates, the more he realizes the deeper and more enduring truths of life, the cosmic truths, if you like, or the undying truths of life, the more he realizes that all this earthly pomp and power and pelf, profit, are nothing but what the Hindu vision has always identified as Maya. This is a world of Maya. And therefore, getting too immersed in this world of Maya, which is politically mandated, you can't be committed to the world of Maya and survive as a politician. To be a politician, to succeed as a politician, you have to disbelieve. You have to completely disbelieve in the Hindu doctrine of Maya. He has to believe that only this world is real, nothing beyond the world is real, and therefore, in order to gain advantage in this world, it is quite all right to resort to any unethical means, create any kind of communal hatred, foment any kind of trouble, including communal atrocities in which thousands are killed, spew venom and hatred, create polarization, insult oneself by telling lies, do anything that you can think of but succeed. Now, that kind of attitude is implicit atheism, it's practical atheism. A person who believes in God, a person who believes his religion seriously, certainly a person who believes in the spiritual values of the tradition to which he belongs, cannot do these things. So, when Sri Narendra Modi decided to go to the Vivekananda Memorial Rock, I was actually a little worried. I was worried that the present outcome would actually come about, namely, that he would get progressively detached from the political processes which are all situated on unethical means, and he would lose interest in all this, and therefore he would also lose the political electoral momentum. Now, that's extreme bad news for the BJP, because for better for worse, the BJP put all its eggs in the same basket of Narendra Modi, and therefore if he doesn't deliver, the BJP is finished. This is an existential crisis for the BJP, but like it or not, this existential crisis for the BJP is the offshoot, or if you like, the offspring of Sri Narendra Modi's very sincere, ardent spiritual experience of meditating at the Vivekananda Memorial Rock. So if anyone had any skepticism or cynicism or disbelief or any suspicion about the authenticity, the sincerity of Sri Narendra Modi in undertaking this experience while the general elections of 2024 were in progress, now there is absolutely no room left for entertaining those suspicions or reservations, because it is now absolutely proved that Sri Narendra Modi, through that experience, has attained a remarkable, almost incredible degree of emotional and spiritual detachment from this world of Maya, in which politics plays the preeminent role, and within politics, a whole host of unethical means meant to secure victory by hook or crook, mostly by crook than by hook. And therefore, I request all the cynics who were heard loudly in those days expressing reservations about the sincerity of our beloved Prime Minister's meditation at the Memorial Rock to come out in the open and offer apologies to the nation for having been uncharitable towards him on uncertain grounds. I think the moral lesson we all need to learn from this particular instance is never be quick to judge a person's intention beforehand. I repeat, never be impetuous, never be rushed in judging the intention of a man or a woman beforehand. Wait till that action is completed, and no action is completed until its consequences are also manifested completely. So whether or not Sri Narendra Modi's meditation at the Viveka Memorial Rock was authentic could not have been predicted at that time if the people concerned had any common sense or honesty with themselves. It would be completed, and a proper, adequate, truthful assessment of this could be done only after taking into account the consequences of that experience of meditation. So meditation did not end when Sri Narendra Modi left the rock. Meditation has ended now in this most remarkable reality of the Prime Minister having attained an almost incredible degree of detachment from the affairs of the world. I think he has shaken himself free from the shackles of this world of Maya, and you will see the beneficial consequence of this in a short while from now. And I would be very happy, and I look forward to Sri Narendra Modi emerging as an unrivaled spiritual leader for India. He has really proved his mettle in the political domain, but I think he can do a far greater service to India by emerging as the spiritual guru of India, authentic spiritual guru of India. If that happens, I promise I'll become his chela, I'll become his disciple, I'll leave everything and follow him, attach myself to him, as perhaps Charles Freer Andrew attached himself to the mission of Mahatma Gandhi. This is a commitment I make, but I have to be satisfied that the Prime Minister, or Sri Narendra Damodar Das Modi ji, has in fact become the foremost spiritual light of India. I believe that it is well within his power to do so, and I sincerely hope that he does so, and I have every reason to hope that he will, given the fact that now, taking the entire experience of meditation at the Memorial Rock into consideration, I have good reasons to believe that it was a genuine and personally a transformative experience for him. So I wish him very well, and this is good news for India, even if it may not look like good news for the BJP. Jai Hind.